Yeah, I just bailed out of it just now myself.
What Island Health call?
For all chairs, hospital chairs, mayors. It's a regular COVID update.
Yeah, we're 61% vaccinated on the North Island right now.
Nice.
You can go ahead, Chair, anytime.
Thank
Isn't
you
it
very
lovely, Jim, to
much.
feel so included?
Okay, so we'll call the Comox Strathcona Regional Hospital District Board meeting to order for Thursday, May 13th, 2021. And first item of business is adoption of minutes.
Move
moved.
adoption.
Second.
Thank you. And seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Business arising? No hands, no comments. Petitions and delegations, none. Reports, number one, summary of projects as of April 23rd.
Move receipt.
2001. Thank you.
Hamilton.
Discussion?
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Can you use your hands up?
Oh, sorry. Okay. My little box here keeps disappearing on me.
Okay. It's
Okay,
fine, Brenda.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, why are the completed projects on this list that have a zero?
Expenditure?
Yeah. Why are they still appearing? This used to be called a summary of active projects, and I assume that those with zero are now inactive and should probably be taken off that list.
Okay,
Just a
I'm gonna go to staff for a response. Where's our staff? Are they muted? Jake or James or Russell?
James is coming up, I think.
Good morning, directors, and good morning, Mr. Chair. Oh, here comes Russell. I think he was on the call just earlier, and he's now come into the civic room.
Okay, remember to dock him a few dollars for being late, eh?
So the question was with regard to on the active or the project summary page, those that are noted as complete should be removed, and we can certainly connect with Island Health to confirm that that is the case with those projects that those that are concluded would be removed from this list. I think the intent here is that the listing it provides some transparency on projects that are either underway or concluded.
Okay.
And my second question is, do we still owe 160,989 for the 489 for the unit dose medication distributor?
Which section are you under, Brenda?
I don't know, because I've only got my little iPad here and I can't switch screens, but the question I had was, do we still owe 164.89 for unit dose medication distribution? Because that's been on there for quite a while and it's still showing 160,000.
Oh, I see it. Major projects, 1.5 less or greater than 1.5 million.
So I'm not sure if Mariah Fort is on the call that could provide any additional information. I do see the note there says it's in progress and additional claims to come, and that's a status update from Island Health.
Okay, so.
Okay. So asked and answered. Anything further?
No, Mariah was going to say something.
I think James answered it, but
Okay.
Go ahead, Mariah, if you have anything to add to James' comment.
Through the chair to Director Lee, so these allocations have been made and we've not been indicated that they won't be spending this money in the future. So as far as our understanding, they're working through this project, but it is multi-year.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So additional claims will be made against the money, so we still have to hang on to the money, correct?
Correct.
Okay, anything further on the report? Seeing none, call a question. Anything of anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Report number 2, Island Health and Vancouver Island Regional Hospital District Semi-Annual Joint Planning Meeting Minutes.
Move receipt.
Move receipt. Second, Evans.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, on receipt, I've given an update. One of the problems we've got, and you may have noticed this was for the November 25th meeting. And I'd already done a report after it. So this is the actual minutes and any presentations that we receive. And we will try and get those to happen sooner. And Director Hillian attended the latest one in when I was unable to attend. And Doug, would you like to give everyone just a short brief on it?
Well, thanks, Charlie. First, I did want to say something about the November minutes. I believe these were circulated to us through our correspondence, and I found them quite useful for one item. We had previously met with substance abuse and mental health management in the Comox Valley to talk about the possibility of an ACT team in the Valley, which I believe Campbell River already has.
Right.
And this was back in the fall, and we were told that it probably wasn't going to happen. And then when I saw that in the minutes, we were able to meet again with them and get confirmation that they had in fact found the funding to do that. So yeah, the timely dispersal of those minutes, I think, is a useful thing, as sometimes there are these nuggets of information that come back. Regarding the most recent meeting, significantly, there was a statistical presentation on the pandemic, and with a lot of very useful information. I'm sure our mayors and chairs are getting the same thing this morning. One of the more interesting questions from a director elsewhere was why the vaccine distribution isn't being geared to both older people and younger people, given the where the spread has started to happen. And it was clearly demonstrated through the stats that the risk of hospitalization from COVID and death goes up exponentially with age. And that has been the primary driver for the vaccine distribution. It made sense when you saw the science and the numbers. There was also information that, as I think we all know, regrettably, the drug poisoning crisis has regressed while we've been fighting the pandemic. It was felt that some progress was beginning to be made, but there's been significant regression over the past year during the pandemic, and that's something that we all have great concern for. There was also a presentation of capital projects, and I think we probably know that the North Island at the present time gets a lower percentage of the capital spend than our population. But the primary reason for that that's been given is that we have the 2 new hospitals, and the major spending on capital in some of the other areas is because they have major hospital upgrades that are taking place. So it's expected that over time, those percentages would likely equalize. Those are some of the more significant points of discussion. But oh, and just one other thing, there's been a significant piece of progress in relation to wait times and wait lists. It's indicated that wait lists are smaller than they have been. And Island Health feels that significant progress has been made in wait times for surgery during this period of time, and particularly given the surgeries that were initially postponed due to pandemic response and the catch-up that has taken place since then. So there were kudos being given out on that front. Thanks.
Super, thank you, Doug. Director Anderson, and then Director Moran.
Thank you. It's just great to hear that there are these calls that are being updated with mayors. And I'm trusting that the mayors are there so they can represent their communities and then report back to their respective communities. I'm wondering what the mechanism is equally for rural areas. In Island Health, are the chairs of the hospital boards or regional districts, can we have access to the information through them? I just feel a bit left out here. Thank you.
Yeah, this particular one, the Island Health and Vancouver Island Regional Hospital Districts, we have 2 meetings a year, and it's the chairs, vice chairs, and our staff for all the hospital districts in Island Health get together with Island Health and go over well, different things. You heard Doug's comment, but gives us a chance to talk about future capital in that. So this is different than the regularly scheduled meetings that Island Health provides on the COVID update.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And so my comments perhaps aren't quite on point. It was those regular ones that are happening. Is there any mechanism?
Point noted, we will ask Island Health.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just going to make a note. Island Health distribution. Mayors, chairs meeting. Okay. Director Moran.
Great, thank you, Chair. Director Hillian, I was wondering in the conversation around the opioid situation, I noticed that it was noted that Victoria had expanded outreach services into encampments, etc. And I wondered if there was any discussion about that in the North Island. And ACT teams, my understanding is they don't necessarily go into encampments or places like that. So I'm wondering if there's anything in the works for that was discussed. I know that when I was in an outreach capacity with the caravan locally, we often would find people in encampments who had pretty significant health issues, and we were able to get them connected to, get them a taxi to emergency or whatever, because they had a really bad infection or respiratory issue or whatever. So I was just curious whether that was discussed under the item around Victoria or the South Island receiving those services. Thanks.
Okay, Director.
Would you like me to respond, Chair?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks, Director Moran. The item you're referencing was in the November minutes. So that wasn't discussed at this recent meeting. It's my understanding that there's a significant amount of outreach to camps through such programs as the caravan and other outreach services, and of course through things like the Connect Warming Center in Courtney. People are connected with health and other services, but that wasn't a specific item of discussion. It was part of a presentation of a more broad-ranging nature, and it was simply stating the fact that we've regressed in terms of the drug poisoning crisis. I did note that it is being referred to at all levels as a drug poisoning crisis, which I think we all feel is appropriate, that it's not necessarily an overdose problem we have, it's a toxic drug supply. And I believe our senior bureaucrats in health and otherwise are well aware of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director Abram.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just in follow-up to Director Anderson's comments about the calls with mayors, chairs, et cetera, and the electoral area, rural areas not being included in that. Many of our electoral areas are, 5 to 10 times the size of some of the municipalities that are represented by a mayor. And we have people asking us on a regular basis, daily basis, what's going on with the COVID situation. So I think it's really important, and it's endemic to government throughout the provincial and federal government that they do not necessarily deal with rural areas. They deal with anybody that's has the title of mayor or better. And I'm just really quite concerned that we do need that information. And if it's not going to be changed, we're going to be included in the calls, then it should be included that the chair of the regional district, who is actually representing the regional district, which we are a part of as electoral areas, should be distributing immediately whatever the results of that call are concerning COVID, so that we can pass on the information to our constituents. Many of us do newsletters. If I may finish, many of us do newsletters out to our communities, and it's nice to be able to put in writing what it is we know. The second part of that is that this is a question to you folks that are involved, has the subject of a whole community vaccination program come up for dose number 2 in any less than 4-month time frame? And if not, could it be brought up?
Mr. Chair, I can provide some insight.
Go ahead.
Hi, it's Russell. Thank you for the question. I just the initiative that you're referring to is an outreach of Island Health to local government, not Island Health to regional hospital districts. So the regional districts are represented by their chair, and it is an initiative of Island Health. It's not specific to capital items. It is more operational, and so I would encourage you to work through your chair of your regional district with respect to those issues, or suggesting it be a broader outreach amongst electoral areas.
Yeah, not to belabor it, but hospital district chairs are also on the invite list. And like I said, James or Jim, I will ask, and we will see how we can improve communications. Director Adams, then Colburn.
Thank you, Chair. And just to respond, Mayor Davis and Mayor Colburn and I were doing dueling devices, and we're on the Island Health call just moments ago. And Mayor Colburn did ask the question of whether smaller rural remote areas would be doing as a block. They didn't have a definitive answer, but they are looking at that. So stay tuned. But the other thing that they were really pleading with is that for all of us to get the message out that for those people that got their vaccinations before February, that did it by phoning in, need to register with the COVID program to be able to get booked for their second shot. So that's really important. And in regards to Director Abrams' question about will they be doing it sooner than the 4-month window, as you're hearing from Dr. Bonnie Henry daily, they are hoping to have that speeded up, but it's going to depend as to the vaccines that are available, and they are hiring extra staff on the island to increase the immunization program. So there, you're up to date. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Adams. And we're kind of straying a little bit far from our semi-annual joint planning meeting minutes. Director Hillian.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add that at the recent meeting with the chairs of other health districts in Island Health, I was able to share our recent engagement with the Cayuga Checklist Nation and the fact that they have been welcomed into our hospital board. It was coincidental with some comments from the mayor of one of the Cowichan areas that there is a tremendous value being given to engagement with First Nations in that area with regards to the wisdom and the learning that is a mutual benefit. And both of the comments there were very much welcomed by the representative of the First Nations Health Council who was on the call, who appreciated the fact that this reach out is taking place and that there's an acknowledgement and a welcoming of our First Nations partners. Thanks.
Super. Thank you, Doug. Our Director Hillian. Okay, Jim, last time.
Yeah, just real quick. Thank you very much to Director Adams for his comments and update. I just wanted to correct one thing that Island Health at the Victoria level is saying that anybody that was vaccinated prior to April 6th should be calling in to register or going in online and registering because they didn't have their computer system, their process set up prior to that. So if you got your vaccination before April 6th, it wouldn't hurt to check and make sure you're registered.
Good. Thank you. Okay, so anything further on our semi-annual joint planning meeting minutes? Seeing none, call a question on receipt. Is there anyone opposed? Yeah, motion carries. The management report. Item 3.
Move receipt.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconder. Thank you. Discussion. Director Davis, did I see your hand up?
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Any discussion on the management report? Any comments staff want to make? Mr. Dyson?
Thank you. No, all is good, but available to answer any of your questions.
Okay. I'm not seeing any questions.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. It's Director Lee. Oh, got to do my hand up, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
Hey, go ahead.
My question was on number 4. I don't believe the board voted to share costs on transitional projects, which I take to mean the long-term care issue, transitional. I don't believe that we did, and it's on the management report to action, something that we did not support in strategic planning.
CAO wish to respond?
Yeah, this is just a specific resolution from one of the minutes, and it is to provide a report on opportunities, not to action, but to provide a report to you, which we intend to bring back.
Can you define transitional, please? Because I'm not sure.
It would be that between acute care and the other forms of care.
Other forms of care, including long-term care?
As extended as I think the chair, you were going to elaborate on that?
Yeah, there's many differences. One of the challenges facing us is we end up with alternate care people being in the acute care hospital, which creates problems on capacity issues. So that transitional, my understanding of transitional is going from acute care to other forms of care, whether that was treatment at home, treatment in a long-term care facility, or others. So it's that full range, and it was, yeah, that's what they call transition. It's going from one type of care into another broad grouping. So there's acute care and alternate care. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything further on the management report? Seeing none, call a question on receipt. Is there anyone in opposition? Call a motion carried. And our next item is, there's no bylaws and resolutions, new business, North Island Hospital's Pathology Department.
Move receipt.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
So on discussion on the receipt motion. Seeing none, I will call a question on receipt. Is there anyone in opposition? Motion carries. The correspondence dated April 25th for receipt.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none. Oh, Director Hillian. See your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm trying to keep track of all the correspondence that was related, but it did appear that there was in the letter from Mr. Hansen to the Citizens for Quality Healthcare, there was an overture to engage further. And it appears that Citizens for Quality Healthcare have written a subsequent letter inviting him to meet with them. And I don't know whether there's been any response to that, but it struck me that that was some useful dialogue that was taking place that was perhaps more significant than what had been going on before. So perhaps a glow of light in an otherwise difficult communication pattern over the past year.
Yep. Well, thank you for that. Anything further on receipt of the correspondence? Nothing further.
There's a question in the room here from Director Arbor.
No, sorry, I was going to move one of the requested actions.
You have to wait then, Daniel. Okay, on receipt. Is there anyone in opposition? Seeing none, motion for receipt carries. Under requested action.
Move the recommendation.
Which
the
one?
Second.
From myself.
Okay, thank you. So moved and seconded. Discussion, Director Abram.
This is on the requested action. Correct?
That's correct, yes.
Right. Yep, my second stands.
Okay, any discussion? Director Hillian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm not clear what the requested action is going to accomplish that contrary to what we've already tried to do with letters previously sent. And I just wonder whether the alternate recommendation from the CAO is more to the point. You know, we have determined a policy that involves trying to engage with both Island Health and the province on these types of issues. And it just seems that it's worth giving that policy a shot. We've written letters in the past that haven't resulted in the changes that the community people desire. It strikes me that the alternate recommendation from the CAO is more to the point of the policy that we've just determined through our strategic planning process. Thanks.
Okay, Director Abram.
Yeah, not to disagree with Director Hillian, makes good points, and the alternate recommendation from the CAO does seem to be on point. But if you read the April 8th minutes, it does not address current issues that we are having actually either removed or reduced or whatever. It's a broader interpretation of what advocacy might be. And I do not think that it is a better way to go. I think that the requested action, as we were talking about before, is the way to go, and that there are strengths, there is a strength in numbers, and that, somehow that advocacy needs to take place as a board, not as just two people against who knows how many other people could be in a meeting from government. Sometimes it's overwhelming. And when there are other members of the same board in the same room, speaking on a subject, people play off of each other's comments. A comment may get made by one person that somebody else hadn't thought of, or it reminds them of something or whatever, and it brings up better discussion. And I think that's the advocacy that we really want on this one. We want a full, comprehensive advocacy position for clinical pathology in the North Island hospitals. So I would not support the alternate recommendation from the CAO, with due respect, Russ. And I would hope that we would go with the requested action as written.
What's on the floor right now is a requested action, not the alternate.
I understand.
Yep. Go into first time speaker, Director Unger, then Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. I think I would be more in line to go along with Director Hillian on this. We've written letters previously already. I think going with the alternate recommendation from the CEO gives the chair and the vice chair the opportunity to sit down and have a discussion. And I agree with Director Abram. The numbers are better when there's more, but I think giving the board chair and the vice chair the opportunity to meet first, see what they can come back with, and if it comes back with not going too much further, then let's jump on more as a board and get the advocacy framework going better. But I would like to see the alternate at this time.
Okay, Director Lee, and then Director Davis.
Thank you very much. Due to the notice of motion and the delay in getting this in front of the board, because of that, I understand that the contract that we requested not to be renewed regarding pathology with VIPCC got signed on March 31st. And I think it's really important for our board to come up with solid direction for our advocates, who are Director Hillian and Cornfield, to represent our board. When you go to these joint meetings, when you talk to these officials in Island Health and VIHA, you need the board to be solidly behind you on an issue. And if ever there was an issue that the board is solidly behind, it's been this pathology issue. It's been the express direction of our board over the past few years. And this direction has been ignored by Island Health and the Ministry of Health. And this loss of investment in our pathology labs in the Comox Valley and Campbell River is very upsetting for our citizens and our communities who paid for these facilities with capital funding that was taxed at 81 cents per thousand for about 10 years to pay for the pathology labs, and then to have it turned over to Victoria, to a private lab. It's just unconscionable. And we want to have our services in our hospitals as we intended when we paid for those facilities. And
okay, thank you.
I don't think that's
Lee.
unreasonable, but I think, the advocacy recommendation from the CAO is fine for Directors Hillian and Cornfield to take, and Chair Cornfield to take these advocacy issues to the appropriate authorities. However, our board needs to pass my motion in order to give our advocates a solid base to take it forward.
Thank you, Director Davis, and then Director Unger, your hand is still up.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just reading both of these possible motions here, and I tend to agree with both of them. Procedurally, is that an issue that we could pass both of them? Because it doesn't hurt to write another letter, but on the other hand, I would love to see you as chair and the vice chair follow up on this directly.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak before I speak?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Those that
I
have
have my
not
hand up.
spoken already, your hand's not up, Jim.
Oh, well, it
And
told me it was.
No, I'm gonna hold off because I've got my 2 bits worth of advice and guidance. And I think in Director Hillian's report back on the last meeting indicated that the Citizens for Quality Healthcare are going to, and the Island Health is going to meet with them directly. Part of the issues we have always had with this board is when do we get involved in operational issues and when do we not? And it's plagued us over the years. I took the liberty of speaking with Island Health and suggesting we need a way for our citizens to be able to contact Island Health directly. And there needs to be changes. Otherwise, if they can't get a hold of anyone in Island Health, they come to local government. And that's us as directors of the hospital board or as counselors or electoral area directors. And I think you're already seeing a change in action already, in that Island Health is taking the next step, which is to meet directly with the citizens of quality healthcare. I think most of the questions have been answered from Island Health, whether we agree with those answers or not. But we've been pushing. So I think it has to be clear we're advocating, but we still report to the board. So we would go and meet, and I think our first meeting scheduled for tomorrow, is it not, Director Hillian?
I believe it is.
Yeah, so our first meeting with Island Health as your representatives and our advocates for the hospital district is tomorrow. And so, yeah, anyway, we would then report back to the board. And if it's a particular time sensitive issue, we can send it out in correspondence to each of the board members. If it can wait till the next board meeting, that's when it would be reported on. So I think we have written many letters that I've signed on this issue. And I think I would like to see Island Health deal with it with the Citizens for Quality Healthcare. And let's see what happens. See if improving communications works there first. So Director Abram, then Director Lee, let's wrap her up.
Okay, thank you very much. And glad to hear you're having a meeting tomorrow, but the motion, as Director Davis mentioned, there's no reason why we can't pass both motions. And I think that it's totally appropriate and almost incumbent upon us to pass the first motion so that you have absolute clarity in your deliberations tomorrow as board chair and vice chair as to which direction this board wants to go. I also believe that the writing of letters has been good, good on our part, not good on what we've gotten back, but that needs to continue. We need to have an in-person delegation from the Minister of Health and possibly VIA to meet with this board via Zoom, whatever, to discuss this particular issue. And then we also need to have our board chair and vice chair engage with Island Health on the advocacy issue. But I do not think we can, not proceed from all sides at once. I think that's the way to win a
Okay.
battle. And that's what this is.
Thank you, Director Abram. I'd like to move to Director Lee to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What great timing. You have a meeting with the Vice Chair and Island Health tomorrow. Wouldn't it be great for you to go into this meeting and speak to and I'm talking about our investment in capital to build those pathology labs. And we did invest it, and now our investment is being diluted by taking it away to Victoria. So what a great timing to have my motion be solidified by the board. And also I support the second alternative resolution that our chair and vice chair also can bring these forward and advocate on our behalf. I mean, you need to have your board behind you. You're not just going down there to advocate for Charlie Cornfield and Doug Hillian's point of view. You're there
Call
to
the question, please.
represent our board.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good timing.
Yeah, your hand's still up, Brenda.
Okay.
So, on the requested action. I'm going to call the question. Is there anyone opposed?
Arbor opposed.
Evans opposed.
Adams opposed.
Anderson,
opposed.
Unger opposed.
Chair,
Warren opposed.
if I may, do you mind if we run through the poll and I can assist you if you like?
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Lisa.
Okay, so we're just going to start from the beginning if the directors don't mind. So Director Abram,
In favor?
Director Adams,
Opposed.
Director Anderson,
opposed.
Director Arbor,
Opposed.
Director Colborne,
Opposed.
Director Cole Hamilton,
Opposed.
and Director Davis,
In favor.
and Director Evans,
Opposed.
Director Grieve,
Opposed.
Director Hemier.
Opposed.
Sorry, that was opposed?
Yes, opposed.
Thank you, yeah. Director Lee,
In favor.
Director Kerr,
Opposed.
Director Hillian,
Opposed.
Director Moran,
Opposed.
Director Unger,
Opposed.
Director McCollum,
Opposed.
Director Wally,
In favor.
Director Grant.
Can I just get some clarification on this? Was the intention here to pass the first motion and the second motion after? I realize we're only dealing with the first one now, but was that because that would change my opinion?
It had an alternate recommendation. So it would, from that, I would take it that it's either or.
Okay, then I'll be opposed, but if we were going to do both of the recommendations, I would be in favor.
So you're listed officially as opposed.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Carry on. Ms.
Alternate
Dennis.
Director Dahl
Opposed.
and alternate Director Minions.
Opposed, but similar to Councillor Grant, I would have done in favor if it was together.
Okay.
But opposed.
Alternate Director Polson
In favor.
and alternate Director Sullivan.
Opposed.
Okay, and Chair Cornfield.
I'm opposed.
Okay, so the motion is defeated.
Thank you. Do you have a count?
1, 2, 3, 4. So five in favor of 23 directors present.
So 18 in opposed. Thank you.
Right.
So Now we'll move on to the alternate recommendation.
Move the
So
recommendation.
moved.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Director Grant, seeing as how you have not spoken on the issue, I'll give
Thank
you
you.
first up.
So I was viewing this as an opportunity maybe to put Russell on the hot seat here and come up with a motion that would encapsulate both. Now, I realize you just passed the motion, but I wasn't given the opportunity to ask that.
We had lots of discussion on the motion itself before, plenty of opportunity to raise a hand. So this is the alternate recommendation from the CAO has been moved and seconded. Did you still wish to talk, Director Grant?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's any flavor for a motion that encapsulates both.
Would be up to somebody if they wanted to move an amendment, as long as it didn't change the meaning of the resolution. And while you're pondering that, I will move to Director Hillian.
Thank you, Chair. The point I made earlier is that we've already written similar letters, but obviously we're not prohibited from further such advocacy, nor are we prohibited from such advocacy at our own councils and regional district boards. But the question that comes up for me is, if we're calling on the Minister of Health to immediately intervene regarding the contract, I think the likelihood of that is remote at best. I think it would be remote at best, even if the Minister of Health were not preoccupied with a global pandemic. So I think that the fact that we defeated the previous resolution does not mean that we don't take seriously the issue of pathology services at our North Island hospitals, or that we don't believe in strong advocacy in that regard. We have all the letters that we've written in past that back up and assert the board's position on this issue. And that's the stance that Chair Cornfield and myself will be able to express to the management of Island Health when we meet, as per the process that was agreed to in our strategic planning process. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hillian. I have Director Lee, Director Abram, and then back to Director Grant.
So I assume that the defeat of my motion does not reflect our board's resolve on the pathology issue, that the chair and vice chair will still advocate for the pathology services at our hospitals to be restored. And am I correct in saying that?
That's correct.
Okay, so you have my strong support for pushing to get our pathology services back. And I'm talking about our capital investment in our pathology labs that we just built, having been reduced and taken away to a lot of the services taken away to a private firm in Victoria. I really think this is a capital issue with Island Health and VIHA, and I think that every opportunity that the chair and vice chair get to press this issue, I'm encouraging them to do so, because this is causing quite a bit of distress in our local communities.
Right. Okay, thank you. Director Abram, then Adams.
Yeah, I'd like to make an amendment based on comments made by Director Grant, Director Minion, that we have a motion before us at the issue concerning the contracting, that one, the alternate, that we just take the and further that from the previous motion, everything below that, and just add it to the end. That would be my amendment. So it would be the motion as stands that we're voting on, and the addition of, and further that, the board write to the minister.
Okay, is there a seconder?
Second.
Okay, if I may quickly, the reason I do not wish to be rushed, thank you, Mr. Chair. The
I have a
part.
speakers list, Mr. Abram.
You have two. I see that the point of the matter is that we have two people going and representing the board, and I am totally in favor and in support of that. But it never hurts to have a written record on file of the board position. And that's what this is. This is the board position, that this is what we feel. And then everything else that the two people are speaking to the ministry about is in addition to. So that's why I'm making the motion, just to clarify it and strengthen it. That's the only reason.
Director Adams.
I'll wait. Right now, we have an amendment on the floor, so my comment is, well, no, I'll speak to the amendment. This board has supported the one hospital, two campus model. The Island Health and the pathology services have responded to the services that they are providing under that model. The statements of the services being sent out of the North Island area and to elsewhere have been addressed. Also the issues of what is perceived contracting out has also been addressed. And I would just remind members of the board that once a decision has been made by the board, then that is the position for the chair and the vice chair to take forward on behalf of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Adams. Director Lee.
Oh, I'll pass. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? I'm not seeing any hands other than Director Adams. Thank you. Director Lee, your hand's still up. Thank you.
Sorry.
Director Abram, your hand. Thank you. Okay, so seeing no further discussion, call a question on the amendment to the motion. Is there anyone in opposition?
Opposed, Adams.
Okay.
Opposed, Moran.
Opposed, Evans.
I think we should probably poll this one as well.
Good point.
Lisa, are you there?
Yep, I'm ready to go. So I'll just start from the
Okay.
beginning again. So Director Abram,
In favor?
Director Adams,
Opposed.
Director Anderson,
Favor.
Director Arbor. Oh, he's not in the room. I will try him at the end. Director Colborn,
Just, sorry, for clarity, we are on the original motion, correct?
No.
We're on the amendment.
Can you read that out to me?
It's on
amendment
the
is-
screen
Yep, so it's,
and starts with and further that the board write to the Minister of Health requesting immediate intervention concerning the renewed contract, et cetera, for pathology services. at
Okay,
the
thank you.
North Island Hospitals.
Not in favor.
Director Cole Hamilton, sorry, Director Cole Hamilton.
Oh, I said opposed, sorry.
Okay, sorry, got it. Director Davis,
In favor?
Director Evans,
Opposed.
Director Grieve,
I'm in favor.
Director Hemier,
In favor.
Director Lee,
In favor?
Director Kerr,
I'm opposed.
Director Hillian,
Opposed.
Director Moran,
Opposed.
Director McCollum,
Opposed.
Director Unger,
Opposed.
Director Wally,
In favor.
Director Grant,
In favor.
Alternate Director Dahl,
Opposed.
Alternate Director Minions,
In favor?
Alternate Director Paulson,
In favor.
Alternate Director Sullivan,
In favor.
okay, and Chair Cornfield.
I'm opposed.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 votes in favor of 23 directors. So the vote, sorry,
Pardon me?
22, yeah. So it's a tie, so the motion is defeated. The amendment is defeated.
Okay, on the motion as moved, which is the alternate recommendation from the CAO. I'm gonna
Charlie, just
call
a
a question.
clarification. Did Daniel vote? We didn't hear what his vote was.
Director Arbor is not in the room, so that's why he did not vote. And the tally was 11 to 11.
Yeah. If a director's not present, he can't vote.
Fair enough.
Okay, so on the motion, the alternate recommendation from the CAO. No
I'll
more
be back.
discussion, gonna move the or calling the question. So is there anyone in opposition? Seeing none, the motion passes. Item 2, letters patent and order in council.
Move receipt.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, call a question. Anyone in opposition? Motion carries. No addendum, no media questions, termination.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is it, gonna ask it anyway, is there anyone in opposition? Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great